Hello, sports fans. It is Monday, May the 4th, the year 2015. And as always, a lot to get to in the sports world, so let's get it going right now. Great to be back with you guys. Hope you had a fabulous weekend. Let's start with the boxing. And in the words of Mike Tyson, we waited 5 years for that. I mean, what an incredibly boring fight. Mayweather wins a comfortable unanimous decision. I had it 8 rounds to 4 for Mayweather. The judges also had it 8-4. 2 of the judges had it 8-4. Another judge had it a little more one-sided. I thought Mayweather definitely won the fight. I thought the first half of the fight was close. I had it 3-3, but I gave Mayweather 5 of the last 6 rounds. Pacquiao didn't do anything the second half of the fight. He looked lost. He didn't change his game plan. Mayweather made the adjustments, and it really paid off the second half of the fight. Mayweather fought his typical fight, and Pacquiao had no answers. Now they're saying Pacquiao had a shoulder injury. Listen, I didn't hear anything about a shoulder injury coming into this fight, and I don't think it would have mattered if Pacquiao had a healthy shoulder anyway. To be honest, I think we would have had the same result. I think Mayweather was going to win by decision. But if Pacquiao had a shoulder injury, you do one or two things have to happen. You have to give him the anti-inflammatory shot. I don't want to hear about rules and anything like that. Give him the shot. It's not like you're giving him steroids. Or the fight's got to be canceled if he can't fight. But to me, I didn't hear anything about this injury leading up to the fight. I don't think it was going to play a big factor even if Pacquiao was completely healthy. I think you were going to get what you got. Mayweather fought his typical fight. He outboxed another opponent. What else is new? But as far as the actual excitement of this fight, there was none. It was boring. There was no action, no knockdowns, no drama. You want drama in these big-time boxing events, in any big-time event, whether it's the Super Bowl or the World Series or college football or the Final Four. You want drama. There was none. There was absolutely no drama. I mean, I could not believe how listless this fight was. I mean, I guess we shouldn't be surprised. Mayweather doesn't fight with a style that gives you exciting fights. He's more of a defensive fighter. He's a boxer. He fights his typical fight every time. I thought maybe Pacquiao would put him in some different positions he hadn't been in before. But Pacquiao, he looks like he's way past his prime now. Pacquiao is a volume puncher guy. He had to just throw the kitchen sink at Mayweather. He had to throw 1,000,000 punches in every round. And he threw like career lows in this fight. Now, part of that is Mayweather, but I think part of it's Pacquiao's past his prime. Maybe he doesn't have that hunger and desire anymore like he used to have when he was just coming up. Remember those fights he had with Morales and, Barrera and, Marquez, all those classic fights. He just didn't seem to have it anymore. In the 12th round, he's down on the cards, and I'm like, you have to start throwing punches. Just throw punches. He would not do it. Now, Pacquiao, after the fight, thought he won, said Mayweather didn't do anything. Listen, this is boxing. This is scorecards. This is it's almost like with Mayweather, Olympic boxing. You know how you score Olympic boxing when you throw a jab and you get a point for it? That's how Mayweather fights. And Pacquiao, sure, he didn't get knocked down or knocked out or beat up. There wasn't a scratch on him. There wasn't a scratch on Mayweather either. But Pacquiao can't say he won that fight or he thought he was winning. I mean, come on. That's not how boxing is scored. I mean, come on. He had to know he was behind there, and if he thought he was winning, he was only fooling himself. If Freddie Roach was telling him he was winning going into that last round, they were only fooling themselves. They were not getting a decision there. And Pacquiao didn't even throw a lot of punches in the last round. I'm sitting there going, it's the 12th round. It's now or never. Very disappointed in the fight. Listen, give all sorts of credit to Mayweather. He fought his typical fight. He's undefeated. He's done this for so many years. You can't be surprised by the style of fight. You just can't. But overall, I'm sorry. I'm disappointed. I was let down. I was underwhelmed. It was just not exciting. When you get this type of build-up and you wait this long for a mega fight and you get that type of fight, I mean, let's be honest. Did any of you think you got your $100 worth? I mean, the undercard is a complete joke. There was no one even in the arena for the undercard. And then you get this type of main event. Not good at all. Not a good fight. And I'll tell you, boxing, I love boxing more than anyone, but you just don't get a lot with boxing anymore. The heavyweight division is a mess. I mean, Klitschko has won how many title defenses in a row? All his fights are boring. There's no one to challenge him. The heavyweight division is an absolute mess. Gone are the days of Ali and Frazier, that's for sure, or Bo and Holyfield. You don't get anything like that anymore in the heavyweight division. I mean, basically, other than Klitschko, could you name another heavyweight? The heavyweight division is a joke. Then you have the best fighter in the sport, Mayweather, who's not an exciting fighter. And listen, I get it with him. It's just not his style. But you have him as the best fighter in the sport. You're not going to get exciting fights with him. Pacquiao is past his prime. You got a lot of the old school guys that are getting past their prime now, you know, like Cotto and a bunch of other guys. And then you have maybe one or two guys in each division, and they don't have anyone to fight. And if there's someone else to fight, they'll avoid them. Everyone wants to cherry pick. No one wants to fight the big contenders. Ward, who I love, what has he fought? Like once or twice in the last few years. Golovkin, who knocks out everyone. No one wants to fight him. I mean, you got Crawford. Now he's got no challengers anymore. You got no big fights. I mean, no one wants to fight anybody. You know what there is? There's no depth in boxing anymore. There's no depth. Back in the day, you could have like 10 guys deep, and you could have all these great fights, and they were willing to fight each other. Nowadays, you got one guy on top of each division. No one wants to fight each other, and it's just no big fights. And then when you get a big fight, you get something like this. I mean, gone are the days of Sugar Ray Leonard and Hagler and Duran and Hearns. Now it's just a complete mess, boxing. I love boxing more than anyone, but when is the last time you said you had a great fight, you know, an epic fight and a big fight? I'm not talking about Gotti Ward. That was a great fight, but those two guys were second-level contenders. They were not champions. They were, you know, they put on an exciting show. But I'm talking about the actual champions. When's the last time you saw like an epic classic fight? I can't even remember the last time it was. I just can't. I mean, I cannot remember when it was. When was it? Was it Holyfield Bo? I don't even know. I mean, but you haven't got anything recently, that's for sure. And this was a total letdown. Another thing, they priced all the normal fans out of the arena. Usually you have a great atmosphere, you got all your great hardcore boxing fans there. They priced them all out of the arena. So what did you have? You had the Super Bowl crowd with all the celebrities. You know, the list went on and on. Jay-Z and Beyonce sitting there, Bradley Cooper, Michael Jordan, P. Diddy, Tom Brady. Boy, how nice is it to be Tom Brady and the Patriots? They win the Super Bowl in miraculous fashion. Brady's married to a supermodel. He's at the Kentucky Derby earlier in the day. He takes a private jet and catches the fight with all his Patriot compadres. I mean, how nice is it to be a Tom Brady? And he plucks down, what, 40 grand to see the fight? He must have spent like 100 grand during the day. Must be nice to be Tom Brady. But that's the type of crowd you got for this fight. It means celebrity after celebrity after celebrity. Where were all the regular fight fans? They were priced out of this. How could they afford 40 grand? I mean, 40 grand for a ticket. And I heard a lot of people couldn't get it on pay-per-view. They were so overwhelmed, the pay-per-view, that people tried to order it the last minute, couldn't get the fight for $100. So to me, very disappointing. I always tell you about expectations. When you have high expectations, you're bound to be let down. When you have low expectations, you're bound to be surprised. I try and keep my expectations in the middle. I have to admit, I was a little excited about this fight. I love boxing. You don't get too many of these events. But to me, I cannot be shocked by what we got. Mayweather doesn't have a style for exciting fights. And Pacquiao just looks like he can't give it to you anymore. He just does not have it anymore. And it was a letdown. Let's be honest. It was a letdown. It was underwhelming. We all expected more. And I mean, to me, for $100, no. It was not worth it at all. Now, Mayweather said he has one more fight to go. I mean, he's got 2 fights on his contract, but Mayweather said he's going to fight one more time in September and retire. Who knows? You take what boxers say with a grain of salt. I have no idea what he's going to do. I mean, who knows? We've seen boxers come in and out of retirement. Who's Mayweather going to fight next? I hear Amir Khan. I mean, do we want to see Mayweather against Khan? I mean, I don't. I mean, I know Teddy Atlas said Mayweather should fight Golovkin at a catchweight. That's not going to happen. Mayweather at this stage of the game is not going to risk everything fighting that wrecking ball Golovkin at a catchweight. Not at this stage. No way in the world is that happening. Look for Mayweather and Khan. I'm not excited about that at all. I've seen Khan get knocked out before, so I'm not excited about that at all, I should say. As far as Pacquiao, listen, I think he's just about done. To me, I'd like to see him retire. He has to have enough money to live the rest of his life. The guy's making $100 million a pop for each fight. I know he's got this huge entourage and he lives this lavish lifestyle, but come on, you got to put some of this away. If he wants to fight 1 or 2 more times in the Philippines or China for his home fans, I could see that. But I think we've seen the best of Manny Pacquiao, and I think we've seen the best of him years ago. I think he's been on the decline for years, and that's nothing against him. He was a great champion. He did more than you ever thought he was going to do, but it's time to get out. Get your money, live the rest of your life. But, I mean, to me, I don't want to see any more Pacquiao, and I certainly don't want to see a rematch. I heard them clamoring about a rematch after the fight because Pacquiao's shoulder, come on. It would be the same type of fight. Mayweather would win by decision. I mean, it's just, he's the better boxer between the two. I don't want to see a rematch. I really don't. I do not want to see a rematch. So, to me, I was disappointed. I was underwhelmed. And as Mike Tyson said it, give Mike Tyson credit. We waited 5 years for that. I mean, that sums it up to me. When I saw that quote from Tyson, I said, that's perfect. I'm using that on my Monday show. Perfect quote from Mike Tyson. Very, very disappointing fight. Congratulations to Mayweather. He definitely deserved to win. No controversy with the decision. Like I said, I don't want to see Mayweather Khan, but I'm sure we're going to get that. Pacquiao, listen, you want to fight in the Philippines or China one or 2 more times for your home fans, go right ahead. But to me, very disappointing, as I usually am with boxing. All right, so that was the fight. As far as the Kentucky Derby, the favorite American Pharaoh does win. Firing line second, Dortmund third, Frosted fourth. To me, when you look at the top 4, you can't really be too surprised. Those were 4 of like the 5, favorites coming in. There were no big underdogs that hit the board. That's why you saw all the prices in the Kentucky Derby pretty low. When you check out the superfectas from past years at the Kentucky Derby, they are some monster prices. I think when Mine That Bird won, it was like $500,000 was the winning ticket. Here, you didn't get much. What was a $1 superfecta? Like $800, and for the Kentucky Derby, that's really low. So to me, there was really no surprise here. We know American Pharaoh is a big-time horse. He's got a legitimate chance to win the Triple Crown. Of course, it's never easy to do, and this class of horses is very deep, so it's going to be that much harder for him, but he looks like an absolute monster horse. I mean, I said this weeks ago when he won the Arkansas Derby. He looks like an absolute monster. Bob Baffert wins his 4th Derby. That ties a record. And Espinoza, how about him? The jockey wins back-to-back Derbies. So great job by American Pharaoh. We look forward to the Preakness in 2 weeks. I hope he wins. That'll set up a big Belmont, about a month from now. That was the Kentucky Derby. Listen, the Kentucky Derby, even though the favorite one, is always exciting. It's always an exciting event. You guys, if you haven't been down there, definitely get down there once in your life. It's well worth the trip, although you will have to pay $100 for a mint julep. Anyway, that's your Kentucky Derby. Let's get over to the NBA playoffs. NBA Western Conference. Golden State at home last night. No problem at all with Memphis. Remember, Conley is out for Memphis. That's a huge loss. I can't expect Memphis to do much damage in this series. This looks like Golden State series. Golden State is going to get through here. Houston will play the Clippers starting in Houston tonight, as the Clippers had that huge win against San Antonio. Great job by the Clippers getting through. Didn't love the officiating down the stretch of that game. I didn't think it was a foul on Duncan on Paul, but that's another story. Give the Clippers credit. They came back from 3-2 down. This is a series the Clippers would have lost in the past. They found enough intestinal fortitude to get through. Chris Paul made a big shot at the end. Now, Chris Paul has that leg injury. He's questionable for Game 1. Clippers need him at full strength to beat the Rockets. After such an emotional win by the Clippers, and with Chris Paul ailing, I think the Rockets set up nice for this series. I think the Rockets are going to beat the Clippers. I mean, so down the road, we're looking at Golden State against Houston or the Clippers. To me, it'll be Houston. I mean, to me, those are going to be the 2 teams to look at, Golden State at Houston. I'll tell you, this is setting up for Golden State. The playoffs are really setting up for Golden State. As you look at the Eastern Conference, Washington went on the road and beat Atlanta, so Washington's up 1-0. I don't love this Atlanta team. They had a spectacular regular season. I don't think they're a championship contender. Washington, a very good team, a surprise team. Do I think they can win the title? No, but I definitely think they can beat Atlanta. Cleveland, Chicago get going tonight. And Cleveland, of course, no Kevin Love. That takes a lot out of this series for me. I think it's a 50-50 series. I mean, Cleveland still got home court, still got, Irving and James, but Love is a big loss. Chicago's starting to get healthy. It should be a very interesting series. But when you look at who can win the title here, to me, do I think Washington can win the title? No. Do I think Atlanta can win the title? No. Cleveland without Love, I mean, that's going to be tough, so I would say I'd lean towards no with them. Chicago's always one Derrick Rose injury away from going out, so I don't trust them either. Clippers, after the emotional win and the Paul injury, I don't think they can win a title. Memphis with Conley's injury, I don't think they can win it. That leaves Golden State and Houston to me, and to me, when you look at those two teams, you got to favor Golden State. They're going to have home court if we get to that. To me, this is shaping up for Golden State really nicely so far, but of course a lot of things can happen. You always got to stay healthy. Golden State, things are really starting to take form for them. They look like the favorite right now to me, especially with Kevin Love going out for Cleveland. But we got a lot of stuff going on. The Cleveland-Chicago still should be riveting stuff. And if Chris Paul gets on the court, the Clippers-Houston will be good, but Chris Paul's got to play. So that is your Western Conference and the Eastern Conference in the NBA. We're just getting going in the second round. As far as the NHL, let's start in the Eastern Conference. How about Tampa Bay? How about the Tampa Bay Lightning? They win both games in Montreal. They win 6-2 yesterday in Montreal. This is after Tampa Bay was down 3-2 to Detroit in the first round. They come rallying back to win that series. They now are up 2-0 against Montreal. They win both games in Montreal. They're now heading back to Tampa. They have a commanding lead in the series. Great job by Tampa Bay. I love what they've done. I had my doubts about them in the first round. Even though I picked them to beat Detroit, they weren't looking too good there, but they did rally to win, and now they've taken command of the series against Montreal. Washington and the Rangers are 1-1. The Rangers hung on Saturday afternoon 3-2 to even up that series. Back to Washington we go for 2 games. That looks like the best second-round series so far. All the other series are 2-0. In the Western Conference, Chicago won both games at home. They are up 2-0 against Minnesota. And Anaheim won last night 3-0 at home. They are now up 2-0 against Calgary. So when you look at the series, Tampa's up 2-0, and they won both games in Montreal. Chicago's up 2-0. Anaheim's up 2-0, and Anaheim just bombed Calgary the first 2 games. I mean, Calgary scored 1 goal and no goals in 2 games. You got to like Anaheim there. The only series right now in the NHL has any juice is Washington and the Rangers, so that's must-watch hockey tonight from Washington Game 3. So that's where you are in your NHL. You should have some really nice stuff coming up. If you get to the next round, you start looking ahead, and I know there's a long way to go. Anaheim, Chicago would be fabulous. And then, say Tampa Bay gets through and they play the Washington Rangers, you're going to have some really good hockey coming up. And like I said, we're still early in this second round, so anything can happen. That's where you are in your NHL. As far as Major League Baseball, really quick, let's start in the American League East. How about the Yankees? What's gotten into the Yankees? I thought this was going to be a long year for them. They are 16-9. They just dusted Boston in Fenway Park. If you haven't seen the Yankees, check out this relief pitcher they got. He looks lights out. Teixeira's hitting home runs all over the place. A-Rod's fitting in. Yankees doing a nice job. I never saw this coming. Now, Tanaka is out a month, so you got to keep an eye on that. But the Yankees, I never thought after their slow start they'd be up to 16-9. So the Yankees are doing a nice job. Baltimore 12-11. They're kind of 500 right now. Same thing with Tampa 13-12. Boston, very disappointing. They got off to a hot start. They're now 12-13. Toronto, 12-14. What's with Toronto? They hit 1 million home runs with Batista and Encarnacion and Donaldson, but can they pitch enough? I mean, they're hitting home runs all over the place as usual, but you look up there in last place again. Toronto, got to pick it up. As far as the Central, Detroit and Kansas City still look good. I think they split the 4-game series over the weekend. Minnesota up to 13-12. They're playing better. Cleveland still stumbling 9-15. I thought they'd be better. As far as the West, how about the Astros? 18-7. They've won 10 in a row. If you haven't seen the Astros, check them out. They have a ton of good young players, and they play hard each and every day. I love what I see from Houston. I mean, Houston was dreadful the last few years. Best record right now in baseball at 18-7. I'm sorry, I think St. Louis is 18-6, but you get my point. Houston's right up there for best record in baseball. And the rest of the West is under 500, so Houston doing a nice job right now. As far as the National League East, Mets are 16-10. Overall, they're doing a nice job, but the last week they have not played good ball at all. I believe they lost 2 out of 3 to Miami. They lost 3 out of 4 to Washington. So the Mets got off to a hot start, still doing a nice job, not playing well the last week. Rest of the division under 500. The Nationals are playing a little better at 12-14. Took 3 out of 4 from the Mets on the road. We'll see if the Nationals can get back up there. I think when all's said and done, the Nationals are going to win this division. They always get off to a slow start. As far as the Central, I mentioned the Cardinals. They're 18-6. That is the best record in baseball, I believe. Wainwright, of course, out for the year. St. Louis, though, always finds a way. They are deep in pitching all the time. St. Louis is a classic organization. Expect them to find a way without Wainwright. Cubs 13-10. We know they're building for the future. Rest of the division under 500. Cincinnati under 500. Milwaukee's horrible. They just fired their manager. Pittsburgh, what happened to them? They were playing decent ball up until the weekend series with St. Louis. Then they got dusted. They're under 500. And by the way, Pittsburgh never beats St. Louis at all. St. Louis always beats them. As far as the West, listen, the Dodgers are 16-8. You expect the Dodgers in the playoffs. San Diego 14-12. You know they're going to be improved. They have to be improved with Jay Upton, Kemp, Shields. You know they're going to be improved. San Francisco playing a little better, 12-13. Colorado 11-13. Lost 5 in a row. Like I said, they can hit, but can they pitch? And Arizona in last place. So that's where you are. Like I said a million times, very early in the baseball season. We're going to have a million ups and downs and all rounds with baseball until we get to the playoffs in October. All right, there you go. You guys are all caught up. You guys are all set. Tonight you got some nice stuff. You got Washington and the Rangers Game 3. To me, that is a must-watch. You got some basketball kicking off tonight as well. Cleveland, Chicago, Houston, the Clippers. Those are 2 great series right there. So you got a lot to watch tonight. You always have your baseball. You guys got a lot to watch tonight. I will be back with you guys very soon. We'll recap it all. We'll see where we are in all these playoff series. You guys, thanks as always for the support. You guys stay happy, healthy, and safe. Enjoy the games tonight. You got a lot to watch tonight. I will be back with you guys very, very soon. Take care.